Hey, welcome to the Backwoods Gourmet. Today we got a box from Amazon and a brand new Lodge skillet to play with. Y'all stay tuned. Here's what we're going to do today. We're going to do another versus. This time it's going to be cast iron versus. And we're going to take this brand new Lodge. Brand new. Still got the sticker in it. And then here's my old antique 3-notch Lodge, number 8. Smooth bottom. This one's seasoned very nicely. Alright, do a little comparison on them real quick. The thickness is a little bit thicker on the new than the old. But the biggest difference is this finish on the inside. My little camera is pretty good at picking up that macro. And you can see that's kind of a sandy texture on that. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the brand new pan here, brand new, right out of the box. We're going to strip it out. We're going to polish the inside. We're going to re-season it, and then we're going to cook on it and compare it to the antique guy. So just like with some of the other videos, we're going to start out. We got the Advanti Pro. I already had that stripping disc. I had this one for years. So we're going to go ahead and just try to get seasoning out of it. That's all I really want to accomplish at this step. Okay, the next thing we're going to come in here with is a flap disc. Okay, this is built for corner edges. You can see it's rounded edges, and that's going to let us get in that corner up in there. And this one has 40 grit. Okay, I'm going to have to take it easy with it. Okay, and I got this on my angle grinder. Okay, I'm going to use very light pressure, and I'm going to grind or sand in that transition between the bottom and the sides. So I really don't know how much you guys caught of that. I've been having issues with this camera just shutting off and doing stupid things. But you can see that little bend right there where it comes up on the sides. That's nice and smooth now. So we're going to switch wheels and we're going to work on the sides up here. So now I've switched my my disc to the flat kind of angled. It's got an angle on it. Grinding blade or grinding flap wheel. So now we're going to work on the sides, and we're going to do this very gently. This one's only 80 grit, so not quite as aggressive. So I'm going to just try to like keep it moving so we don't dig in too much. So if you can see that, that's where we've been grinding. We're going to keep moving that thing around all the way around the pan, and we want eventually that to be you know, a solid silver color. This is just the rough portion. We're going to work on it with some sanding machine, sander, for the final finish, but we want to remove most of this roughness at this time. So that's what your pan should look kind of like when you get done with this part. Now I'm using very light pressure and going very slowly. I'm trying to avoid making any huge digs in it. You know, I got a little spot right here, probably could use a little more work, but that feels pretty smooth to the touch. Now we haven't done anything to the bottom yet, but what we're going to do is we're going to get one. We might go over it really lightly with this 80 grit, just to knock off the high spots, and then we're going to get out the sander. So what I'm finding here is the bottom of this is really rough. I was just going to hit it lightly, but there's some really deep really deep pits in there. So I'm working on a little more than I wanted to, but I'm trying to hold the grounder at the angle of this flat brush or flap sander, and I'm gonna go down a little further than just a lightly. So let's see if we can finish it up. So after this first process, that's basically what it's going to look like. You can feel inside really slick. I know you can see the burr, you know, the swirl marks from the grinder. I actually had to use the curved flap wheel to get back in here again, touch this up again, and this pitting was so deep. There's still a few of them showing right there. I actually went over the bottom of it with it also, and then came back with that 80 grit again, and that kind of shined it back up. But it's super slick and smooth, but we're going to go a step further on it. So we've been out this about 40 minutes is all we spent on this. That pan is just slick. Okay, there's still a few little tool marks you can see. The sander, we sanded that's 150 grit. Okay, I did a little hand sanding just in that transition there, because this grit was like that's a 40 grit disc. Wish I could have found one that was 80. Didn't have one with that profile. If you can find one with 80 though, get it. A little less aggressive, but the bottom is nice and slick. We even polished up here on this top rim. Got that nice and slick. So this guy is ready to be seasoned. Made in the USA, made better by the Backwoods Gourmet. So last thing we did before we're going to season this, we actually carved a Backwoods Gourmet logo right into the bottom of the skillet. And we used a Dremel tool with a little tiny carbide cutter engraver bit. So if you want to put your initials or mark your cast iron, this works great because it's very soft metal. So the way I do like to do the first step of seasoning a new pan, especially a raw one like this, I like to put it over here on the propane burner for a little while on a kind of a low heat, and just let it kind of get that whole pan nice and toasty. Then with that first oil we hit, it'll soak it right in. Okay, just had a little chance to warm up. Gonna go about a tablespoon of grapeseed oil and a cotton cloth. I'm going to give that a good wipe on all the surfaces, especially those bare surfaces. I'm going to give it a quick flip, I hope, without burning my hands off. Give it bottom, sides, everywhere. Nice good wipe. Alright. I'm just going to let that cool off for a minute. We can do it one more time before we put it on the grill, which is where we're going to season it at. Here's how I like to do my cast iron. I like to put it out here on the Weber kettle. About 3/4 of a chimney of charcoal. We want to get to 500. I'm going to put this one, since it's fresh seasoning, bottom up first. Now, I already got this grill hot and I got room, so I might as well take another one. This is one of my old 3-notch lodges. We can go ahead, I just cut it out with some oil, so since we already got a hot grill, let's go ahead and put that in there also. You know, you can't do this too much to your pans. So if you're going to heat up something like this, if you can fit it, you might as well go ahead and put it in there. It costs you like a penny's worth of oil, no more heat. So there's the Backwoods Gourmet, the new one. And we're going to go ahead and put the lid on. and we got the vents wide open. So okay, that's approaching 450 now, which even if it don't get any higher than that, I'm not going to crack the lid and let the heat out. It's wide open on the bottom, wide open on the top. We're just going to leave it in there, let it stay in there all night, you know, till it just burns out, and it'll cool down on its own tonight, and tomorrow we'll do this again. Okay, second time in the grill, and it's been going for about 2 hours right now. It's looking beautiful. But we're just going to go ahead and leave it in there till it burns out, and we'll check on it in the morning. So after seasoning this guy here 2 times in the Weber kettle, and then on that second time we actually gave it an intermediate wipe there with another layer of oil. We did the same exact thing with this one. We recently got this one, didn't have a great seasoning on it. I did that same double seasoning in the grill on that very short time ago. But you can see, I believe that the new one actually looks even as good or better than the old guy, the old 3-notch Lodge, brand new Backwoods Gourmet version, same exact pan. So the next thing we're going to do with these is we're going to cook with them and compare the two and see how they do a couple of pancakes. So this was a versus, like old against new, and I'm going to call this one a tie. And mainly because there's only 2 seasonings on that pan since we ground it out. I don't know how many were on this. This was an antique I got recently. So that new pan is going to get better and better as we use it. So I think it's going to be just as good as any of the old stuff. Okay, so the big question is, was it worth the time and effort to take a brand new Lodge pan, grind it out, to make it cook just like an old Lodge pan? And that question can really only be answered by you. First of all, do you have the tools and the skills to be able to perform this project? If you don't, you're going to come out way cheaper heading over to the antique store and trying to find you some old 3-notch Lodges, some Griswolds, some old Wagner ware, you know, 75 to 100 bucks. Or if you can't find those, go look up the Field Company or the Stargazer. You can buy those pans brand new that are already milled out when you get them. Thanks for watching the Backwoods Gourmet. If you like what we're doing, hit that like button right down there. To subscribe to our channel, check it out right here. For our last video, it's going to be right there. And for a whole playlist of cast iron and Dutch oven cooking, check it out right up there. We'll see you next time.